Okay, cool. Take a comfortable seat, if not already there. You can sit cross-legged, back on the heels, or legs straight out in front. As you find your seat, roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple of times. Maybe let a big breath out through the mouth. Clear away. Let your gaze fall low or close the eyes. And in this manner, welcome yourself to this hour of yoga, this hour of practice and movement for yourself and within this community. I always like to begin our month with the mantra of the month here as the word of the day. So be present. As I've worked with this mantra in the first few days of April, it's been a little bit hard. I want to be present. I want to be full in this exact moment, breath by breath. And yet there's tragic events happening at the Capitol and all around. They keep pulling me out. And then the practice is here to remind us to come back. We work within what is happening around us, in us, to simply be the best through the present moment that we can. As we take this movement onto the mat, make each pose the best that it'll present itself, working with all that's coming and going. Nod the chin down to the chest. Rock the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Chin back down to the chest, left ear to left shoulder. And just back and forth a couple of times like this. If it feels good to you, go in a full circle, letting the head roll back, around and down. And then switching directions. Inhale fully. Try to expand on the length of the exhale. One more time, just with the breath. Let it go. Okay, from that slow centering and start, let's come over to all fours. Hands under your shoulders, knees under the line of the hips, and do cat and cow. Move the spine back and forth here. Keep going there in cat and cow, just warming up the spine. And then we'll change to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. In down dog, as we typically would, pedal out the feet, shake the head, get some movement here in the pose. Continuing just to open, be present with what comes. Inhale, come forward now to plank pose. Lie flat down onto your yoga mat. Reach your hands back behind you. Turn the palms to the sky and lift everything that you can up off of the mat. Squeeze the heels in and try to lift higher from the thighs. Squeeze the glutes. Exhale, lower it down, press back to child's pose. Here in child's pose, walk the hands towards the right side to get a long stretch and length from left fingertips back to the left hip. And then walk the hands across the center on over to the second side. Reach out to the right fingertips and pull back on the right hip. And we're back into the middle through downward facing dog. Step the right foot through to your low lunge. Come into your full stride with the knee over your ankle, fingertips in line with our toes. Lift the back leg so that you can make the legs straight, really firm the muscles onto the bone. And then add a twist, right hand up to the sky here. Lower the right hand back down, step back to plank. Again, lie flat down onto your mat, hands behind you. You choose, keep the hands open or clasp behind your back this time, and lift again. One more breath. And then exhale, lower it down, press back to child's pose. Stay for just a breath here now. And then change to downward facing dog. And step the left foot through to your low lunge. Again, take the time to line it up. Good alignment, fingertips in line with our toes. Strong, active back leg. And then add the twist, left hand up to the sky. One more breath. Lower the hand down. Again, step back, plank pose. Down to the mat. This time, hands in front of you for superhero pose. Lift it all up. Arms and legs can stay wider apart, but still the energy of squeezing in. Or take the hands and feet all the way to touch. And lower it down. Again, press back to child's pose. To downward facing dog. Step the right foot through to your low lunge. This time, both hands to the inside of your foot. Let's take it to our down dog lunge. Spin the back heel down. Walk the hands out. Keep lighter in the hands, heavier in your feet. Stay in the foundation of the pose. Broaden the front knee out away from the front shoulder. Fully here, fully now for this breath. And then the hands come back in. This time step forward, left foot to the front and switch, right foot back. Both hands to the inside, back heel down. Line up about heel to heel, get that extra lift and push through the back leg as you extend the arms out towards the corner or more towards the side of your mat. But as before, continue to broaden out through the front knee. It moves away from the shoulder to get a little more length on the inner thigh. And now hands come in and step backwards to downward facing dog. Here in down dog, take your feet as wide as your yoga mat. Take your feet back an extra inch or two from where you first did. And then inhale, lift up to the toes. Keep the heels high and drop your knees down. Bend your knees down towards the line of the ankles. Use this as an extra push of the hands to lift in your hips. And then straighten the legs. Now send your heels closer back down to your yoga mat. They don't have to touch. They never need to touch. What works for you? And change. Look to your hands and walk to the front of the mat. Bring the hands to the hips, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, stand up. Take mountain pose here with the palms together right in front of the sternum. Coming back to our intention, layering in your individual intention, should that be different for today. And then interlace the hands, flip your palms and reach the arms up to the sky. Big full reach here. Push through your thumb and your first finger a whole lot. Try to stamp down into your feet at the same time that you lift higher. And exhale, forward fold, touch down to the ground. Keep the right foot forward, step your left foot back so you come into your lunge. And then stand up, high lunge, arms to the sky. Hold on to your left wrist and arch over towards the right side. Lean a little bit forward so that stretch comes more into your back rather than the side of the torso. And then drop the hands all the way back down, frame the front foot. Step the left foot forward, step the right foot back. Come back upright to your high lunge, arms to the sky. Hold on to your right wrist, arch towards the left. Come back to the center. Whoops, I forgot to lean a little bit forward. Go back into that arch and lean a little forward so we get into that QL stretch, quadratus lumborum over on the right side of the spine. And then drop your hands all the way down again. Step the right foot forward to the front of your mat. Stand up, mountain pose, palms just down by your side. Take a breath here to reset. Utkatasana, power pose, chair sit. Bend your knees, sit into your thighs, extend the arms out in front. Try to lift the arms a little bit higher, like thumbs lifted towards the sky. Look straight ahead or even up in between the hands. And then reconnect, navel towards the spine, tailbone down towards the floor. Stay with it, you've got this. Go maybe an inch lower in the thighs. And stand up. Exhale, forward fold, touch down to the ground. I'm having the hardest time keeping my earbud in today. Keep the right foot forward, step the left foot back into your long, low lunge. We're here, left knee to the ground, hands to your hips, lift your torso straight up and down. Good, we do the strong squeeze as always, front heel back, back knee forward. Then the hips go a little down and forward. Interlace the hands behind your back. And can you squeeze your elbows in, squeeze the palms in, and then maybe straighten the arms and lift your chest. We've got some back bends coming throughout this class. So really get in what you can get in, warm it up. Release the hands on either side of the front foot, lift the back knee. We again step forward, left foot to the front, step the right foot back. Lower the right knee down to the ground. Again, hands to the hips, lift the torso. Just methodically here. Interlace the hands behind you, flip the other favorite finger in front. Squeeze the elbows, palms in, lift the chest. That's one stopping point. Second stopping point, go for straighter arms. Work into the upper back. And release the hands either side of the front foot. Step forward, both feet to the front end of your yoga mat. Hands to the waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, come upright. Mountain pose, arms down by your side. Take a breath in and out. Lift your arms up to the sky Exhale, forward fold. Step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Right into side plank. Balance on your right hand, the outer edge of your right foot. Choose to stack your feet or step the left foot in front. Reach the left arm up to the sky as you open across the body. Now, extra work here. Turn your palm towards the front edge of your yoga mat and then take your arm all the way overhead so you get a longer side body stretch in here. We want that full length with the dominance of strength to take us into the back bends today. Okay, 2 hands back down. You lift the hips high in downward dog. And then go to your second side. Left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Stack the feet or step the right foot forward, whichever is going to offer you the most benefit today. Right arm up to the sky. Turn the open palm towards the front end of your yoga mat and then stretch over. Further you reach your right arm towards the front edge of your yoga mat, try to lift through the right hip. And then go back, downward facing dog. Bend your knees and walk your hands to the back edge of your yoga mat, all the way to the back. Hands to the waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet, come on up to standing. Tree pose, place your right foot onto your left leg. As high as works, above or below the knee. Point the knee out to the side, the toes down to the floor, and let's keep the hands right at the center today. Find a spot out in front of you that won't move or change. Push your foot into leg, leg into the foot. Stay here. I think we did this Thursday morning as well. We're taking this from tree pose right into eagle. Point the knee forward. Bend the standing leg to wrap right leg on top of the left. And then take your right elbow under. Hold on for eagle arms to your shoulders or to the back or front of the hands. Can you squeeze your right outer foot to your outer calf? Maybe even tuck the foot behind. Two feet back down to the mat. Unwrap the hands, stand tall, mountain pose. And then right into the second side, place the left foot in tree pose. You can always move the body for more stability against a wall. Try it here. And of course, bobbling, falling out of a pose is all just present moment teaching. What will we do with that? Point the left knee now forward, bend your standing leg, and wrap. The higher we can wrap the thighs, the easier it's said to be to squeeze that bottom foot against your calf or behind the calf. And then it's left arm under right if you're not already there. Everything that's touching, squeeze it close in towards the midline. Nice work, yogis. Unwrap. Legs and arms, reach both arms up to the sky. Look towards the front edge of your yoga mat. Step your right foot, big, huge step, all the way through. High lunge. From here, spin the back heel down, open up for warrior two. So the energy, the instruction of the body comes open across the side to look towards that long edge of your mat. But keep your eye gaze towards the front, right over your right fingertips. Broaden the right knee, like we did in down dog lunge to begin with, out towards the pinky toe side of the foot. So we're always looking for a little more stretch and length in the inner thigh there. And that can only come safely with a strong squeeze and presence in the back leg. Squeeze in the glute, press all the way through the back foot. Stay here. Bring both hands to your waist now. Straighten the right leg. Turn the feet parallel to one another. Wide-legged forward fold. Take your torso forward. Drop the hands down so they're right underneath the line of our shoulders. And try to lengthen out from the hips to the head, like a back bend shape. Think long stretch through the spine. Extension. And then for just a moment, walk the hands in, fold the head more down towards the floor. We want to feel a change in those two postures, even just subtle. Next breath, bring the hands to your waist, push down into your feet and come all the way back upright. Stay just as you are, but now to the second side, so you're facing probably the back edge of your mat. Turn the left toes out and bend the left knee. Find warrior two here. Extend the arms, gaze out over the left fingertips. Again, trying to be broad across shoulders and hips. The back hip likes to lean forward and compress the low back, so you have to keep it back, create the space. We've done it. Straighten the left leg, turn the toes again parallel. Go one more time to that wide-legged forward fold, this time right into hands in line with your feet and head down towards your sticky mat. If you happen to have the natural range of motion that your head is actually indeed on your mat, please take your feet more narrow until it is not, so that you are having to continually challenge a little more stretch through the back of the legs for today in this pose. Everyone lift up on your kneecaps and tone the quad muscles to the thigh bone. And hands back to the waist. Feel free to take a bend in the knees here to most actively come up, nice and safe. Look back towards the right foot. This time we're taking a big step to the front edge of our yoga mat. Shake it out a little bit. Take a breath in. I am here. Take a breath out. I am present. On and on we go. Lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air for three-legged dog. And then sweep it to the front for your low lunge. Here, spin the back heel down, pop up your right elbow to the right thigh. And stretch your left arm overhead, palm down like we did in that side plank. So a big full reach. Finally, if you'd like to open up and look more towards the side or to the sky, go for it. So your extended side angle pose with that elbow up on the knee to give us a little ease of space today. We're changing this right into triangle pose. Pull your left hand back to your waist. Look down to the floor. I'm going to heel toe the back foot in 1 or 2 steps because triangle pose is generally a little shorter of a stance. Okay, with all that in place, get stronger in the abdomen. Straighten your right leg. And then send your right arm more down to the floor or your bottom leg, top arm up to the sky for your triangle pose. Extend from the length of your hips to your head. Try not to lean forward or back, just straight out over your right toes. Okay, change again, left hand to your hip. Turn your shoulders and head to look down towards the right foot. Come back into your low lunge. Step it back, downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards to your feet. Bring the hands to the waist, elbows to the sky. Press down into your feet. Come all the way upright. Make sure we give that second side the big step like we did the first side. So a little bend in the knees. Take aim, step forward. This is how we came into Warrior Two on that first side. So here, drop the back heel, open up. And then take it into your side angle. Elbow to the knee. Sweep the top arm all the way long overhead, really long. Stay here for a few breaths. Be fully in this pose, this moment. And we change again. Right hand to the waist. I'm going to heel toe my back foot in just a smidge. I know I need a shorter stance to make this work. With the hand on the hip, I can still have the hip pulled more up towards the sky rather than rotating down, kind of knowing where that is. Get stronger in the abdomen, straighten the left leg, and then think head towards the front toes. And that will let the left arm lay down to your leg or to the ground, top arm to the sky. I like to think of the arms, the hands, as just those finishing touches here in triangle pose. You've set up all of the strength and commitment of alignment first. Okay, bring the right hand back to your waist. Turn the hips and shoulders to look down. Take a nice low lunge. Let's step it back. Downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Lift the left leg up into the air. Left leg high. Three-legged dog. Step it forward into your lunge. And take this right into half moon. So left hand stays down. Lean the weight into the left leg until you can lift your right leg off of the mat. And then take that same hip and shoulder opening that you do in triangle pose. Turn more to the side, more to the sky. Right hand high, right leg high. Bring it all back in. Step the right foot right beside the left foot there at the front of your mat. And then just go right fingertips down, left hand to the waist. All the weight in the right foot. Tap the left foot back behind you. And you're ready to lift off. Left leg higher. Right leg only goes straighter to the amount that it works. It doesn't have to go all the way straight. Start to turn the left hip, the shoulders more towards the sky, left arm to the sky as well. Half moon pose, give it a couple of breaths. Ardha Chandrasana. And then two hands, 2 feet down to the mat. Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. Have all 10 fingers touch the ground. Only make the legs as straight as works, keeping the fingertips down. We want the safety of that closed chain. There's more points of connection so we don't overstretch or extend. Okay, from here, we're lying all the way down on our back. So I'm going to come to a squat and just kind of help myself all the way down. As you lie back, immediately legs up into the air, arms straight up to the sky as well. Get into the core work here, palms together. Lift your head and shoulders off of the mat like you're trying to touch fingertips to toe tips. One of my favorite parts of this series. Lower the left leg until it's about a foot away from the ground. You're in those scissor legs. Try to keep your shoulders and head up off of the ground and reach your hands past the right leg. Here, the right shoulder blade will want to go down onto the mat. And I want you to try to fight it to keep it lifted. Put in the intention right there, that breath, that moment, and both legs back up. Switch to the second side. It's right leg down, left leg up, and lean towards the left. As soon as you lean to the left, that left shoulder is going to go down to the mat. You're doing the best that you can to lift it up, knowing that it's just this moment. It's about to pass, and you are done. Both legs to the sky. We do it one more time, quick. Lean to the right, and up. Lean to the left, and up. Hug your knees into your chest. Hold on to just the right leg and extend the left leg down to the mat. Imagine that you're doing a lunge, that low lunge that we're so used to, but now you're on your back. So flex the right foot, try to point it up towards the sky, like you're standing on the ceiling. But take the hand, it swings elbow to the inside of your leg, but hold on to the outside of your foot. And use all the force that you can to pull your thigh down to the floor at the same time that your foot is trying to force its way back up to the ceiling. We could call this one a reclined lunge or a half-happy baby. Reclined lunge, I think, keeps the idea of the intensity that's here focused. One more breath like this. And then pull it back in, both knees to the chest. And switch sides. Hold on to just your left knee. Extend the right leg. Flex the left foot. Elbow to the inside, but we're trying to wrap and hold the pinky toe side of the foot. And then pull the left knee and thigh down at the same time that the foot is trying to push back up. So it's that tug of war that's so healthy and strong for us in this longevity of practice. Give it a few breaths. Strong, strong, steady hip opener there. And release both knees back into the chest. From here, I want us to rock all the way upright to a seat and then over our legs to downward facing dog. Got it? Ready? Let's try. Rock it up, cross, jump, step back, downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale and come forward to plank. Here's where we start to get a little more steady on those back bends. Lower down to the mat, bend both knees. Reach back, try to hold on to the outer edges of your feet. If your hands don't reach, no big deal. Reach them back as if they are holding on, and that is your work. If you found the closed hold, go for it. And then everyone lift, 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 bow pose. We'll do this a couple of times, so you could also go one side at a time, holding on just to one leg and get in the other side in a moment. Everyone still squeeze your glutes strong. Think of pulling the chest forward and the knees back, back, back. We're here. And we are done. Release. Arms down, legs down, like a belly down Shavasana for just a couple of breaths there. And we're going to try that a second time. Rebend the knees. So if you did one side at a time, now you get to grab the second side. You could go for the exact same hold. Or even more challenging, can you hold onto your ankles, flex your feet, which should help to root the thighs more down into the mat. And then everyone lift what you can up. And that lower hold on the ankles should keep our thighs more grounded and a little more lift in the chest. That's what we're going for. Really emphasizing that upper back opening and work. Give it 2 more breaths like this, bow pose, holding at the ankles. And then exhale and release. Let's all take it back to child's pose. And then sit down on your bum and stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Okay, we did the lunge lying down on our back. We're gonna try to do that same thing from a seated position. Pick up your right leg. You can hold on to it with both hands. Pull the right thigh back as much as you can. As you pull the right thigh back, still heel up towards the sky. It's been, I think, a month since we've gone here. Let's see what happens. Right hand to the inside of your leg. Try to wear the leg like a backpack. That is your seated lunge position, both hands down on the ground. Can you get your butt and or heel of the left leg up off of the mat? Squeeze your right thigh in to hold. And then lower it all the way down, 2 legs out in front. Okay, so you just continue to work within the options that work for you. Hold on to the left leg. We're taking the left knee as far back as we can, the heel about as high as the shoulder. And this is a great stopping place. Maybe you're here today. Left arm to the inside, trying to hike that leg anywhere above the line of the elbow, as high as to the shoulder. And then it's got to clamp down, squeeze in so that it can stay. It's called one arm pressure pose. You're pushing leg into the arm back into the leg, and try to lift 1 or 2 sides of the right leg off of the ground. Lower it all the way down, 2 feet out in front of you. Reach both arms up to the sky. Like that knee hug into the chest that you did lying onto your back. Pull the knees in, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze in. Maybe even balancing here with the feet off of the ground. So you're a little further back on your sit bones. Just squeezing in nice and tight. And there's the same similar type of squeeze that's going to happen in the next pose, except now we're going to go shins down, cross at your ankles, shins down on the ground. Place your hands right beside your knees and try to get into that same bear squeeze. Lift the knees off of the ground, round, round, round in your upper back. I've got the front of my feet on the ground today. If you can lift yours off, go for it. More power to you. And then lower the thighs down. Take the hands out like they're going for downward facing dog. And we're going to change to a squat. Heels off of the ground. And again, you're in that bear hug. Kind of like cat pose, crawl it in. And can you place the knees with a little bend on the elbows somewhere on your upper arm bones, maybe as high as into your armpits, and take 1 or both feet off of the mat. Crane pose, Bakhasana. Think of that bear squeeze of the knees close into the chest the whole time. And then drop it down. Step back to downward facing dog. Nice steady work. We got some more for us. Step your right foot in between the hands, low lunge. Work both hands up to your front thigh. After all that strengthening arm balances, this one might actually feel pretty easy and calm. Palms together, take a twist. Left elbow more towards the right. You're still working through breath and intention there from the hard work of the arm balances. Maybe stay a little more lifted. If it works right here for you, you're still going full force. Elbow to the outside of the knee. Palms together, right elbow to the sky. Untwist. Set the hands on either side of the front foot. We'll step back to downward facing dog. You can stay there or add a vinyasa flow in between. Forward to plank pose. Down through chaturanga. Lift the chest for cobra. And then we all join back together in downward facing dog. We've got another side. Step the left foot through to your lunge. Hands up to the front thigh. Good, let's add the twist. Right elbow towards the left. Again, you can stay higher, give it a little breathing room, or try to clamp down closer. Next, exhale, slowly unwind. Hands down, step back, down dog. Again, the opportunity to stay there or to add in one more flow. Down to the mat, through cobra, and into downward facing dog. Lower your knees and sit back on your heels for a moment. So the next two poses are somewhat linked together. And there are two more arm balances. Watch me first, and then we'll work on it together. So the first is two-legged K-Sage pose. I like to think of this as turned crane pose. So we just did crane, crow pose, and now we're going to turn it and try to extend our legs, but think of it just as turned crane first. So if we were in crane pose, keep watching here, we're instead going to turn to one side, and you get the entire length of the thigh. Ideally, this left elbow, if I have my knees to the right, is free. And you're leaning both legs onto that one side. You want to get there first and then try the leg extension. Let's walk it through together. Not so bad, I promise. If you want to be sort of towards the front of the mat, we'll have our hands facing like we typically place them for downward facing dog. And then point both of your knees to the right side, so the left side of your body is looking at your hands. To get into turn crane, I usually just lift my butt up, walk a little more towards that right hand, try to create a shelf, set both knees onto the upper arm bone. If you've got it, you're there. Do your best to work to straighter legs. It lengthens where that center of balance is, so it gets a little funky. Play with where you need in your space. Okay, and then once you've done your first side, we've got to come back out of it. Maybe a little shake out through the hands, reshape, refocus, present moment. No matter what happened first side, I can go at the second side free and clear. Okay, breath in, breath out. Place the hands like they're in downward facing dog. And this is a twist. Oh, and it's a big twist. So maybe you're working right here for the next 45 seconds, staying with your twist. The next is lift up a little bit taller, try to walk over to one side. Next, set the weight of the legs down onto the upper arm bone, but stay strong in your core so that it's not all just settling into that wrist. Lift both or one feet up. Try to stretch the legs straight. Come out of the pose. I want us to stand all the way up before we go to the next pose. Reach your arms to the sky. Interlace the hands, flip the palms, big full reach here. We want all of the stretch, all of the height. Okay, and then you're going to come back down into your little squat. So I often teach this next pose from a very different way, but because we just did that two-legged sage pose to get into one-legged sage pose now, I want to go into it mostly in the same way. It might be easier, it might be harder for you, but let's see what happens. So it's again, setting the hands like downward facing dog. You take the twist. This time, the bottom leg, so right now it's my left leg on my right arm is gonna stay there, and instead of trying to extend two legs straight, I got the balance, counterbalance of one back and one forward. Give it a go. So think turned crane, but as you start to lift the legs up off of the floor in turned crane, you're going to send your left leg forward and your right leg back, trying to counterbalance your weight. But if you're not there, you do crane pose again, you do turned crane pose again, or you do a lunge with a twist. Second side, work your way out of it, back to the first. Again, what can you do to be clear, to be present? Sometimes the second side is harder, sometimes it's easier, but just be in what comes right now and go for it. So we place the hands, we turn, knees now towards the left, walk it around. Sometimes here, another option, like keep that front foot down, but can you stretch the back leg out? Get some of that weight change and start to see the shape of the pose coming alive in your body. Work with it for about 20 more seconds. And then everyone, find your way to downward facing dog. Nice inhale through the nose and then open the mouth and let it go. Exhale out. Set down your knees, come down to your forearms. Dolphin pose. Keep the toes tucked and lift your hips up again. In dolphin pose, we want our head off of the mat. Push down through your forearms, try to lift in the hips. To get more space, bend your knees, take your feet wider apart. We want this to really open up and find something of essence in the upper back. I feel that plenty. And then knees down, wrap your hands back to your feet in child's pose here. Let it all fold back in. Okay, we are not quite done. Come back up all fours. Shift the right foot forward, hands to the inside. Twisted monkey. Pull your left heel in towards your seat. Take your weight forward and out to the left hand. Big rainbow. Draw the right hand up to the sky, all the way back and around to try to hold on to your foot. Once you're there, squeeze button heel in. Quad stretch. Twist in the torso. Little bend in both elbows to send the shoulders more back. Head back. And release back leg. Walk it around to the other side. So we set the right knee down. Hands walk a little to the right so that the left leg can come forward. Weight forward and out to the right hand. Pull the right heel in towards the sit bone. I didn't mention it on the first side, but that front leg can turn out as long as knee, toes stay in the same line with one another. And then that big rainbow, lift, 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 and open. That'll make it easier than just grabbing back. Go with your breath here. And release. Downward facing dog. So as you walk it in, go back to down dog. We're going to lie down onto our mat for bridge pose, working into our upward facing bow. So face the way that works for you on the mat. Lie down. Okay, this final series of back bends, we're going to start with the base and we'll build, and you only, of course, build to that next level as it's feeling right for you. But this is like grand finale, if you will. So don't have to hold anything back, but do exactly what fits for you. We start with bridge pose. Reach your hands down to try to brush against your ankles. Push down into the feet, shoulders, head, lift the hips up. Squeeze in the glutes. As you lift the hips up, think of extending long through the thighs. Interlace the hands underneath you. Crawl the shoulders in. I always probably give all those extra forewarnings about back bends. I could do it in any series of poses. These are my challenging poses, so I probably overscare them. Bridge pose here. Push down, feet, shoulders, head, lift, lift, lift through the hips. And then release the arms and lower the hips back down. All right, so you either do the same thing a second time, keep repeating, finding how the repetition works in the body. The second time, if you'd like a little bit more, we'll take the hands right under the shoulders, so my fingers are turned towards the line of my shoulders. Elbows up to the sky so that you can still see those elbows in your peripheral vision. And the first stage is, again, bridge pose. Lift the hips. So everybody's in bridge pose first. And then if you're going to your upward facing bow, push through your hands to lift your head up. Set maybe the top of the head down to the mat. Rearrange the feet as needed. I like to go heels up to give a little bit more space and then push all the way through. Make the arms as straight as you can. The effort here is always in the legs. Heels down as possible. And come safely out of your pose. Tuck the chin if the head was off the floor. Try to resist hugging knees into chest unless you know you need that, but if you can, just be for a moment. We've got a third final big back bend. So that third one is either regular bridge pose, the attempt that you just did, or the third one is that we're going to go all the way up into the second attempt, but then try to bring the head down to the floor and the hands to interlace behind your head. It's inverted staff pose. If you don't have a great straight arm version of your upward facing bow, I would ask you to keep working on that second stage before going to this more intense inverted staff. Okay? Here we are. We all start bridge pose, press down through feet, shoulders, head. If you're changing to upward facing bow, it's hands under the shoulders. Peripheral vision finds your elbows and go to top of head or all the way up, straight arms. To work to inverted staff, you've got to set the top of your head down and try to crawl the hands. My hair always gets in the way. Behind your head to interlace. And then it's kind of like a backwards dolphin pose. Push through your forearms and try to lift through the legs still. Once you're done with inverted staff pose, you've got to go all the way back up to safely come out. Everybody back down. And then we get to do a big bear hug wherever we've landed. Squeeze the knees in. Stay here a little longer. Cross your right ankle over the left thigh for a figure 4 stretch here. All of this helping to calm and open through low back. Do it to the second side. Left ankle over the right thigh. Pull it in. Take your arms out to a T shape. Set both knees over to the right side. From all the intensity of the back bends, just really going right into release here. And then over to the second side. And bring the knees back into the middle. Shavasana, extend your arms and legs. Be full in this moment from the steady, full work of practice. Take in your rest. Take these words into your rest. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment. This is my wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment. This is my wonderful moment. As always, you are welcome to stay here longer. It is your space, your time. For those wanting to close together, take your time. Come back to a seated position if not already. And then close palms together, thumbs to your sternum. Full gratitude to the moments that came before that allowed you to be here. Gratitude to this present moment that will also push forward goodness into the future. And again, just residing right here, present. Take another breath in, another breath out. On the next exhale, sing, listen, or tune out the sound of Om. Deep breath in. From the light within me, I bow to that same light within each of you. Namaste.